Hey, happy Halloween. This is I don't have a Halloween edition or Halloween thing, but it's, going to do a movie that's apropos for the time of year and for Halloween. And it is a movie that I think we all know, needs no introduction. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. This is a creepy movie. This is a very creepy movie. So I bust this out around Halloween time along with Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I will get to in another episode. Maybe I can do it for this weekend, for the same holiday weekend this year. But this is probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Let me start off by saying I'm not a huge horror movie fan. I'm not into films with, people being gashed up and killed. This is too much just drama for me. I like some of the psychological stuff. Like I was a big fan of The Omen, the original Omen movie. I think that's still one of the creepiest movies ever made. The Exorcist, sort of. I find The Omen even scarier than that. But the chopping you up movie kind of stuff, I'm not really big into that. I did like Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2. But The Shining holds a place. It's just something. We're going to talk about it. That Guy Talks Movies. We're going to talk The Shining next on the Halloween, edition. Next. Hey, welcome to That Guy Talks Movies. I am that guy that talks movies. If you're into movies and talking about movies and you got a passion for film and all that wonderful stuff and film scores and soundtracks and you're a diehard film guy, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Let's go. Click it. Hit that little notification bell so you know when I put up new content. To those of you who are still with me, those of you who support me, who watch my videos, who show me love, I appreciate having you and I cannot stop thanking you. Thank you. Let's get into it. All right, so Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, based on Stephen King's 1977 novel, although Kubrick took his own poetic freedom, artistic license, and didn't quite follow the Stephen King book, which pissed Stephen King off, and Stephen King never really liked this film and certainly didn't like Jack Nicholson's performance in this movie, and a lot of people didn't like Nicholson's performance in this movie. It's a bit over the top, but there's a reason for that, or there are several reasons for that. It's speculated on, which brings me to a whole lot. So this is one of those films where you've got, if you were to do a Google search on The Shining or a YouTube search on this film, you're going to find a whole bunch of film enthusiasts, film fan theories. There's a documentary. I think it's called Room 237. There's a lot of speculation about what is taking place in this film because it's an ambiguous sort of horror, thriller, suspense, psychological thing dealing with insanity, dealing with murder, dealing with past lives, dealing with, there's just a lot going on here. And there are a lot of theories. I mean, I could probably drive you nuts just talking about them all, but I feel like I would just be regurgitating and just doing stuff that you guys probably already know. Anyone who knows this movie, like I said, do a Google search, you'll find tons of things. So I'm not going to get into all that. I'm just going to tell you why, for me personally, this movie just works as a really creepy film every single time I watch it. With that said, it's not something I've watched hundreds of times. So I'll also put that out there. It's not a movie that I'm so familiar where I know every single frame and I know every line. There are a lot of movies like that for me, but this is not one of them. But every time I see it, I'm creeped out by it. And I want to discuss my theory on that. I don't want to get into the whole, like I said, the idea, it's, the Overlook Hotel was built on this Indian reservation or Indian burial ground. So there's this haunting spirit going on there. There's ghosts. There's all these different theories about what Kubrick was saying with the movie and what could be taking place as far as Jack Nicholson, his character, and the family, and there's a lot to dissect there and a lot I can get into. I think for me, what I really want to convey to you about this film is what makes it really scary is all that ambiguity, right? It's all of the idea that these hallways and these different mazes and these things that are happening with this child and what he's processing and what he's dealing with and his relationship and conversations with Scatman Crothers and The Shining and the ability to do that. And you're kind of well, what does that mean? Well, you're every scene, you're almost what is what is going on? What does that mean? Nicholson's character, right to the end of the film, and the famous shot of the black and white photo where Nicholson was there, July 1921, and you see him there, and the whole conversation he has with Grady, who was the other caretaker at some point, or he's the one that murdered the two girls and, you know, his family. And he tells Nicholson's character, Jack Torrance, he tells him like, well, you've always been here. You've always been the caretaker. So it's like, okay, wait. So is he replaying his life? Is he a reincarnation of himself? Is there something happening? He's a ghost. There's so much. And you could dive into this and spend days, hours. You can have discussions on philosophy and filmmaking and all sorts of stuff with story with this film. But again, what resonates for me, what hits me, what impacts me the most, and what really makes me frightened or uneasy when I watch it is the very uneasiness of the film. The kid riding his big wheel down the hallway and going through and making the noise and hitting the carpet, and then there's no noise, and then like just the way they do that, the way he turns the corners, the maze and the way things are set up as far as the maze and the interior of the hotel. The concept that there was some sexual abuse or abuse from Jack Nicholson's character, you know, Torrance and Danny, his son. The fact that, you know, Kubrick drove Shelley Duvall crazy while shooting this film and treated her like shit. But I believe it was all for a reason, because she was supposed to play this sort of really abused sort of wife, somebody that was just, you know, she needed to look like or perform as if she was going through it and she was really being tortured. So it worked, whatever the hell Kubrick did. So yeah, there's a lot happening in this film that when I watch it, because I'm trying to figure it out and I'm also creeped out by the different scenes, the blood in the hallways, the two girls. I mean, come on, you don't have to get into what the movie's ultimately about. You don't have to come up with a conclusion to just be totally creeped out when you see the twins. When you see those two girls and you see the blood in the hallway and then you see their grisly murder, you kind of see them laying there dead. When you see all that, you're just fucking creeped out. And that's why this movie works for me, because you feel like you're in this hotel and you're creeped out because something's wrong, but you're not sure what's wrong. I feel like if you know what's wrong, it changes things, right? So like, let's just go with a classic horror, like let's say like a Jason movie. Well, you've got a serial killer and it's a guy with an axe coming after you. You can identify the source of the terror. You can identify the threat. In The Shining, you're not quite sure what the threat is. You know, is it Jack Torrance's own personal descent into madness? You know, him losing his mind the whole time he's there. Did he already lose his mind before he got there? And this was just a reason for it to go even further? Did the hotel play on that? The spirits in the hotel, the ghost, did they take him over the edge? Was he called to that hotel for some particular reason? Has he always been there? Is it a reincarnation theme? Is he a ghost? Like, was he abusing his son? Does the hotel hold some special magic? Like, what is happening? Who's in on it? Who's not in on it? Right? Scatman Crothers' character, the owner or the manager of the hotel in the beginning of the movie, is he in? Does he know? Did he bring Jack Torrance here? Like, there's so much shit, and if you don't know the answers to any of that, you're still equally creeped out. You don't feel like you're missing something. There are movies where that ambiguity doesn't lend itself to any real satisfaction, right? You just kind of left scratching your head going like, what the fuck was that? And you're not satisfied. The Shining's mystery, the lack of you knowing what the real threat is, but you know there's a threat and you can feel it around every corner that Danny turns, every corner through that maze, whether it's Shelley Duvall running through with Danny or whether it's Nicholson chasing Danny towards the end of the film. It's just every turn, every corner, every part of that hotel is disturbing. And obviously the shots, some of the scenes where Torrance comes into room 237 and there's the woman in the bath and that whole thing, and then the reflections in the mirror. The whole thing is dealing with reflection and mirrors and different shots, or you're seeing things through, like reality you're seeing through the mirrors, but like in the real world you're not seeing reality. It's just fucking creepy and it works. So my Halloween pick and one of my all-time favorite horror films for that reason, The Shining. One of Jack Nicholson's greatest performances as far as I'm concerned. I put it in probably his top 3. And like I said at the opening of this video, a lot of people did not like this performance from Nicholson, especially early on. And I think the film in general was not well received by critics early on. And it's somehow managed to become a favorite, a cult classic, a favorite film amongst a lot of aficionados. I imagine most of you watching this have seen The Shining. If you've not seen The Shining, please do yourself a favor this weekend, this holiday weekend, watch The Shining. And then get back to me and let me know what you thought. For those of you who are familiar with The Shining, for those of you who are experts on The Shining, who really can go in on this, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Don't write an essay, but point me to a video, maybe something you think is interesting. I'd love to hear different takes. It's the other thing. It's the beauty. It's just like the gift that keeps giving, because you will hear different perspectives. You will hear different fan theories about this film for years, and some of them will make you scratch your head, like the theory that Kubrick was using this film as his way of admitting that he faked the moon landing. Like there's some stuff with Danny's shirt. He's wearing the Apollo shirt, and there's some things with Tang drink mix that's in some of the scenes. There's all sorts of speculation on that. And that one seems to be a bit silly, but who knows? There's so many things happening here that you could talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And I think that's what makes it great. So let me know in the comments below what you think, what your theories are. All right. If you've never seen it, make sure you see it. If you have seen it, again, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, what are you doing? Just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. As I said in the beginning, hit the subscribe button. I'll give you another chance. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when I put up new content. I will see you guys on the next That Guy Talks Movies. Thank you for watching. Peace.